Podcast.
We're back.
My name's Shane McKenna, and to my left this weekend, order the bloke with the most doors in his room. It's my little brother Joe. How are you, boy?
Yeah, I'm going great, Jake. I got doors coming out the wazoo.
How many doors you got, bro?
So many.
You put a number on them.
8.
To my right.
That's a big room.
And to my right, coming in 6'1", as he does each and every week, it's the baby brother of the pack who we call Ginger Boy. Ginger Boy, how are you?
I've got 6 wheels to 2 doors.
Oh, you're in door deficit.
That's a good ratio.
Door deficit.
Door
I'm hearing-
deficit.
Oh my lord, boys! It's a massive episode of the MacPack podcast.
That's it.
This week we're kicking things off with doors versus
Doors chat.
doors versus wheels. Plus, we're giving a few of our AFL predictions.
Footy chat.
Yeah, well, I hit the nail on the head a few times last year, so we'll see if we can recreate that wisdom. Plus, we chat about Batman and give Shane Warne our everyday hero. It's a massive episode. Boys!
Brother
Mingos! How are we all? Are we all well?
No.
Not so fast.
Why? What do you
Jake,
mean?
not so
What do you
fast.
mean?
Well, you fucked up the intro.
You think you can get away with it, mate?
Let's get into it.
There you go. We put that shit on a t-shirt. You got to be able to say it, mate.
Well, I've run out of
want-
time. The time was cooking. I need to make mention of the fact that we got Shane on. We did not on,
We
but
got Shane on.
Shane's involved with this week's episode of the
Yeah,
MacPack
it's
podcast.
a massive run sheet. We got 4 items to get.
It's actually the shortest run sheet we've ever run with, but fuck. Quality over quantity
quantity.
this week.
Speaking of quantity,
Yes.
we got door
shit.
chat.
We got door. How many doors? What is the current scope of the door
Huge thing
wheel chat?
on,
Right.
huge thing on TikTok that blew up like almost yesterday at time of recording.
Yeah, so it was
It's relevant news.
Came from a Twitter poll that some guy posted. Literally just him and his mates were having an argument about it. Posted it on Twitter. It got 220,000 votes on the poll.
How does
and
that
now,
happen?
yeah, I guess wheels and doors good search engine optimization.
So the question is, in the world, are there more wheels or are there more doors?
Joe, give us your verdict.
wheels.
Why?
So I was a little bit torn on this one. Doors, obviously, there's a lot of them. Wheels, there's also a lot. But when you think about cars and stuff like that,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of doors.
Tick.
You got the front ones, you got the back ones, you got. Then it gets to like a bit of the nuances. Like, are you counting like
trucks. Trucks have a lot of wheels. Some
They
trucks
do,
have
they
like
do.
16 wheels and 2 doors.
they do? Houses have a lot of doors, not too many wheels. But then you think about the chairs we're sitting on.
Oh, true. Yeah. Okay.
These have like,
What I think.
Are these wheel? What would? They're
These
not
are
like
wheels.
traditional.
No, they're wheels.
Exactly,
They
that's
count
the-
as wheels.
but
They're
the
not
thing that-
traditional wheels. Like
It's a
when I
wheel.
think of a wheel, I think of a tire.
No.
Yeah, well, it depends on
It's all a wheel.
It
That's the thing.
depends on the definition. But the thing that sold me on the wheels, right?
The Ferris. Ferris did
Ferris.
it.
There are
Was
a
it
lot of
Ferris?
Ferrises around.
Ferris wheels.
Yep.
So the thing
Unfamiliar.
that
Mind you, do they all have doors?
each
Some
carriage
have-
would have like 2 doors.
Some have
Do
gates.
gates count as doors? No one knows. But okay, the
Or
reason
cares.
the reason why I think wheels has to take the cake. So obviously cars wheel to door kind of evens out. If anything, doors win because you got the back door.
Yep.
But
We were saying that his back door is a boot a door.
I would count it as a door.
I would.
But do you know who the biggest manufacturer of tires which go on wheels is in the world? If you had to guess.
Doors plus.
Like you got Doors Plus. So you've got Michelin, Bridgestone, all those classic cars.
What's the fat guy? Is it
Michelin?
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's the Michelin man. that's
Okay,
right.
beating them out by almost double. So I think Bridgestone is second.
You let us say that.
The number one manufacturer of doors is actually of tires is actually Lego. Lego makes
was gonna say.
318 million tires a year,
Yep.
and a lot of those aren't going on toy cars with doors. A lot of them don't have functional doors.
No, I was going to say Matchbox cars
Yep.
might be the ones that get us over the line because
Exactly.
none of their doors
Don't
open.
work.
But what I was thinking is like any room with a desk, 6-1, roughly. And there's never a wheel system other than the tricycle that has less than 4 wheels. Every time there's a wheel, there's usually 4, unless it's a motorbike or a tricycle.
Uni. It could be a uni.
So you've basically just said
Or a uni. But
think-
think about the amount of the car to motorcycle ratio, the door to desk ratio.
Yeah.
No
Even
one's
like
using a stool these days. We're wheeling around, boys. We're doing this motion.
yeah, a lot of them are like think about a building, skyscraper full of doors.
Yeah. but
The office chairs.
Yeah, there's more
So
chairs.
many wheels.
There's more wheels.
Wheels is the victor, and we all know it.
Because okay, what did you guys think prior to this chat?
I knew Wheels. I was
You knew. Confident.
You knew.
I knew it was Wheels.
Is there going to be an inquest? You previously worked. I don't know if you still work for like data analytical
Yep,
companies.
that's still what I do.
Cool.
Congrats.
There might have to be a study
Come on, guys.
that comes out of
Do
this.
something useful.
Are you going to head the study? Is that your new promotion? Oh my god!
Hey, money
Just
back!
when we thought he couldn't.
Is that what paid for the trip on the weekend? You dirty dog?
The real question here is
The wheel
is
question.
is the doors plus wheels in the world equal the amount of money Joe has in his bank account this week? Oh my lord! He's just
Must be nice over that way, mate.
rolling around in it over here. Have
That's
a
right,
look
every
at him.
week.
No comment.
Have a look how many doors. You said you owned 8 doors,
8 doors.
in your room.
Don't mind if I do.
How many wheels you got in there?
Only 2 of them are
How many wheels?
Yeah, you dog, you big doggo.
Is my bed on wheels? It is massive because I can afford it.
Yeah,
Is it on
it's-
wheels?
king size. Yeah,
And you've got wheelies. You got heelys.
I got my heelys, yeah. I got heelys, I got roller skates, I got roller blades. I got a skateboard. I do have a skateboard in my room actually.
This guy, he's a skater.
Get on it much?
He's
Huh?
the richest.
Get on it much?
Nah.
Yeah.
It's skaters, rich skaters. It literally goes Tony Hawk, Joey Mack. That is how we're tearing the skate game.
Look, I'm comfortable, yeah.
Oh, must be very. Yeah, he's got doors. He's got so many wheels.
Hell yeah.
Money can't buy. The other thing I've seen on TikTok. Let's move on from wheels and Joe's bank account for a
Yes.
mere second. The other cool thing that I've seen this week on TikTok is an audio game.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a question of what are these men saying?
It is. I want you to shut your eyes, or you can keep them open.
No,
Actually,
shut 'em.
He's already shut them. They're glued shut. I want you to tell me what you reckon these boys are saying.
Should I tell you the options before?
I'll read them out. I want you to be part of it as well. Is that okay? Can you do that? Oh, are you having a?
me get it up.
He's getting it up.
Oh, it's a big day.
Whoa.
Here we go. All right, shut your eyes. I want you to tell me what you hear initially.
That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
What are we hearing?
I'm hearing that is embarrassing.
Ginger boy? Yeah, that is embarrassing. I think that is actually the
what they're
I think that's what they're saying. Now,
Solve the riddle.
but now, if I tell you that they're saying Bart Simpson bouncing, listen in.
Embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
I hear it.
Same.
What about rotating pirate ship?
Embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Yes.
Right, lobsters in motion.
That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
That one actually didn't get that much.
I didn't get that one.
I got motion, like the first word.
That is embarrassing.
Lobsters in motion. Lobsters in motion.
I understand the concept. mate.
Lobsters in motion.
No, I can't. I actually can't hear
No, I
that.
can't hear that.
Last chance. Because I got it then. I got it on the last one.
No, I can't.
Nah,
I
I'm
just
hearing a
hear
lot of embarrassing,
too
yeah.
much.
I'm chasing Martin.
That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Yep.
Yeah, I got that one, yeah.
The headphones we're using are very good. I feel like that's not helping the cause.
Yeah.
Most people are listening to this on like their shitty
Fine.
Nokias. And last one, this isn't Mercy.
That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Yeah, I got it. It's similar to the last one, but
They really sound Scottish in the last two.
yeah, it's like you hear it with the accent.
I'm not going to lie to you boys. Before we jumped on, I heard them all. As we were playing them then, it was only that is
Well,
embarrassing.
maybe it is the headphones.
Yeah, I literally...
Not to brag.
Let us know in, I don't know, the comments of our... Yeah, just text us. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I heard each variety of them walking in. And now that we've played it, I only heard that is embarrassing.
Maybe it's
Which,
because you listen to it like on repeat so many times.
which in itself is quite embarrassing. Just seen a really good message from one of the boys who reckons in the chat that we just spoke about, the doors v wheelies.
Doorsy wheelie.
He said coffins. We'll just leave it at that.
A lot of doors.
Not many wheels on coffins.
Yeah, it's true.
They should though, because like a lot of those dudes who have coffins.
Yeah,
you
but
gotta put 'em-
coffins exist and then they get A lot of them get cremated, or they
Coffins don't get cremated.
Yeah, they do.
They go
What?
in with them.
Do they?
Yeah.
Actually, there's
No,
a
they
bit-
don't.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I think it's just the bodies. Just
No,
pushing,
that's so fucked.
pushing people.
Push him. We're done
J-Mac.
here. Podcast over. I think we've done.
Woo,
We set up.
less swish. All right. This week we're talking about AFL predictions.
I wasn't finished.
What do you want to say?
Yeah, but like either coffins get burnt or they get
They're
They
buried.
don't reuse it.
buried and
They still
shriveled
exist.
up and go away.
They
people-
go away.
but if
Yeah,
you die-
if you dig up a coffin from 50 years ago, gone.
No, I think that's true.
It's wood, bro. It would
No, but there's like
Yeah, it's-
shit,
they like
people eat
put
it.
varnish.
Not people, but like it gets eaten, bro.
No, but
Animals. Get,
All right, we'll do it on the weekend. We'll work it out. We'll find out. We'll go
Ants-
dig up some coffins.
ants
We're
should
good.
know that there's a human in there, so they go in there and eat it. Do you think you sit in there? Do you think if you dig up someone? If you dig up someone and you
What?
open the casket,
Ants
they're still in there.
know that there's a person in there.
They can, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's one of them coffins I've been
Watch
hearing
this,
about.
watch this huge box that we found.
Must
50
be a
years-
human. I live underground. I know stuff about human society.
Nah. Fuck
Although I
you.
do think they get cremated. They're not reusing.
I don't think the boxes get cremated.
What the fuck do they do with them then?
I thought just bodies.
You think they
'Cause
reuse?
maybe I'm just thinking. No, I don't.
Second hand, good Sammys.
Good.
You get them
Dead Sammys.
Get them cheap. No, maybe I'm just thinking it because of like the dogs. The dogs go in the little urns. Well, even when you watch movies, like
I
it's
like
the
this-
people's body that they take it out. They take it out in like the
No.
ocean and shit.
Nah.
No, but
it's
that's the
whole
coffin is in
thing,
that.
man.
That-
No, I don't think so.
Once
So
you
he's
seal
burning
a
the
coffin,
Coffins are
it's sealed.
expensive.
But that's why they
man.
burn them, so people are gonna buy more.
If they,
People
when
think
they-
coffins are so
when
expensive.
They seal coffins, they're sealed. You don't reopen a coffin.
Yeah, because like
Of course not, because you know what's
No, you
inside.
don't- you don't
It's
know.
not
So
a
you
fucking
can't
cri-
open it up inside.
It's
No,
not a Christmas
shut.
present.
It's
No,
screwed
It's
shut.
shut because you don't want to go inside. It's not shut because like.
wait, what are they doing with the leftover coffins?
That's the
Because,
$1 million
like,
question.
I was at a funeral once, and the
Oh,
coffin,
cool,
like-
man.
Yeah, not to brag, but what can I say? I dabble. I wore a black suit.
Were you invited?
I looked dapper.
Were you invited?
No, I just moonlights. I
know.
want
Cool, cool.
No, but it goes. off
Can we
into
talk
the
about
thing.
footy now, or
It
let's-
goes off into the thing. It gets burnt.
Footy chat?
I
All
don't know
right.
What's going to be more dead? The coffin chat or the
Footy
footy chat? We had a few months without footy chat, and
It's back.
we're back.
We're back.
But this time
We had the
it's gonna
rising
be
star.
better.
We had the premiership player, rising star of the AFL on
See,
our
that's when we can
podcast.
talk about footy.
You know
Yeah.
stuff about footy.
That was like
He
3
is
months.
footy.
That was 3-4 months ago. That was incredible. Didn't hear you bitching about footy chat then.
What a
I
guy.
wanted Luke to like me.
We're back. Footy chat is back. We are
It's
asking the question. We asked the people of Perth heaps of questions this week regarding footy, which excited me to no end.
Me too, yeah, me too. I love to hear the people's opinions on that topic.
Good stuff.
All right, footy kicks off on Wednesday of next week. So, fucking
Hell
oath.
yeah.
Some of us are really pumped. Joe, take it away. Who we got?
All
Who we got winning the flag? Let's go.
Predictions.
I think last year we went alright. You picked a few like good ones,
Probably, yeah. I'm pretty good at this stuff.
especially the teams who are
Sports.
shit. I think this year we'll go Premier and we'll all just go who's going to win Premiership.
Yep.
And then we'll go the next tile as we go.
Agreed.
We good?
Yep.
Joe, who wins the Premiership?
GWS.
Why?
Oh, I just think they've got it this year. They've
They've been good for a while.
they've been close. I think maybe now they've sort of got the drive to do it.
I
Get
think
it done.
I think their best chance was when they beat Collingwood at the MCG in the preliminary final, which we were all attending, and then they just decided that 7 days later they're going to absolutely shit the bed.
they
I
got a redemption arc coming.
like it. I like the thought pattern. If Toby Green can stay on the field without like punching out an umpire, they're a real chance.
you got,
Toby.
Jay? Who you
Toby's
got?
Toby's arguably my favorite part. I've got D's or the Dogs.
Make a decision, you bitch.
If you had to go.
If you had to.
Dogs because I think it's hard to repeat.
Yeah, true.
Dogs
They don't
because
have the drive. They don't
it's
have the,
it's often the case that the teams who win have previously come close and fucked it. Melbourne last year in 2018, which is not that long ago, it's 3 years on since that season.
Yep.
got to the preliminary final against West Coast and absolutely shat the bed as well. I'm not saying that the Doggies shat the bed last year, but they didn't win, and I think they're going to... Well, mind you, yeah, 3 quarters they didn't shit the bed, and then, I don't know, 5 minutes to go in the third. Ooh, a lot of feces out there.
All right, Riley, who do you got?
The Melbourne Demons.
Oh, he's going back to back.
Look, we had Luke Jackson on the podcast. I could sense something in that man that was more grand finals for the Melbourne Demons.
Love it. Okay, next one we got Rising Star.
Rising Star.
I've got... I think we might all have the same person.
Vote.
Yeah.
Nicholas.
3-2. Okay.
Nicholas Dacos.
Nick Dacos.
He's the man.
Dacos.
Young Messiah.
Collingwood.
He will
Heritage.
He will deliver us
Some
our
might
next
say.
flag. Within the next 5 years.
Yeah. 5 to 10.
2025. Should we put a limit on it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's fucking do it. Nick Dacos, you can join us in the pod in 2025
Or sooner.
with your Norm Smith medal and your 3 Brownlow medals by that point.
Moving on to...
Yeah, I think he's going to win it. Should we put money? I've had a look at the markets. The markets look good. I'm keen to put some MacPack money on via...
We could put a MacPack multi on the whole season.
Oh, that's big. I like...
we can try and win.
I like dumping like a heap of money, like $500 on Nick Dacos.
From the MacPack Business Fund, is that?
Yeah.
Do we get a sign off on this, or...
Look, if we do it, and it'll likely happen before Wednesday...
Get on.
You heard it here first. Nick Dacos will be your 2022 Rising Star.
All right, next one we got Wooden Spooners. That's the worst team. And it'll be North Melbourne yet again.
North.
Fremantle Dockers.
Nah. You serious?
Nah, I got no clue. Yeah, Northeast.
No.
Northie boys.
North
Unanimous North. And finally...
The Brownlow. Now, often, the team that's going to win it all probably got some good players. I got Toby Green from GWS to win the Brownlow.
Oh, you reckon Tobe?
I think if he maybe cleaned up his act in terms of like way he
Can he
behaves
win
a
it?
bit.
Oh, I guess he got suspended last year, so he might be a chance.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I don't really like him, to be honest.
Oh, hot takes.
It's a bit
He can
mean.
be a bit of a meanie, but apparently he's a real guy, a real nice guy off the field, which
He
I think is better than being
That's what
nice on the
matters.
field and actually being a beep.
Yeah, and we've made mention to that previously, which, yeah.
Jake, who you got?
Jack Steele.
Steely
Oh,
boy.
Steelo.
Guess who I got?
Who's Jack? Hang on. Who does Jack Steele play for? Joe?
An interstate team.
Come on,
Brisbane
just
Lions.
throw one out there. Just
Brisbane Lions.
I'm
nah.
going to say St. Kilda.
No.
Yeah, Joe got it. Joe got it. Let's go. Joey got it right.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Yeah, nice. Subtle.
Guess who I got, boys?
Not sure.
Luke Jackson.
To win the Brownlow.
Whack. Oh, how dare you speak down to my
Sorry,
man?
no, I just
Wacko Jacko is an absolute gun, and the man.
Ruckman don't win it.
Watch.
Oh mate, if
He's
Luke
going to
Ja-
make history.
if
He's
Luke
going to be the
Jackson
best
wins-
player.
Oh,
He's going to be the best player to ever touch the AFL.
I hope he
ground.
does. Bloke
Watch
is a
this space.
bloke is a genuine jet. We'll just quickly go through a couple of people's answers, and then we'll get out of here with Footy Chat because I know you guys love it so much, don't you?
Yeah.
Lockie
Okay.
Harrower reckons Kangas for the shittest team in the competition.
Yep,
We're just going shittest team.
Smart man, yeah.
Ryan Kozovic reckons Pies.
Well, he goes for
He goes for
North
Kangas.
Melbourne. So
Yeah,
you
so you just got to throw someone else under the bus. Alex says Crows. We got Cooper with Crows.
Fair,
Lot
good
of
call.
Crows. Lot of Adelaide Crows, who I said would lose it last year, and they didn't. Lot of Crows. Lot of Sun. No, one Sun. Johnny Henderson, who runs an AFL podcast, reckons the
Oh,
Suns.
yeah. Shout out late withdrawal.
Shout out to late withdrawal. The Suns. Nah. Suns will finish 10th. A lot of North Melbourne. A lot of Adelaide. Yeah, flash. Next. Rising Star. A lot of Nick Dacos.
Yep.
We also have a few votes for Logan McDonald.
Who's that?
No idea.
Logan Paul.
Logan.
Ronald McDonald.
Scrummer. Jackie Donaldson. Jack or Angus? Which one's Scrummer?
Jack.
Jack said Jack Harlow.
Oi!
He's a rapper.
He's coming to Perth. He might
Who's
get
Jack-
a game.
who's
He's
Jack
a
Harlow?
rapper.
He's a rapper.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I've never heard of that man.
Yeah, but everyone knows all these footy people.
Yeah,
I
Brandon
bet everyone listening is like, oh, Jack Harlow.
Ward.
Yeah, I bet more people know Jack Harlow than Jack Steele.
He looks like Blake Parker.
Kind of.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heath Chapman, Brandon Walker, Caleb Sarong. No, he can't win it. He's been in the league.
All right,
for
all
like, okay, next. Jacob Horn Francis has a chance to knock off.
Yeah, he is for sure.
Brownlow medalist to the people think.
Jacko.
Sam Walsh. Sam Walsh got a vote. Paddy Cripps got a vote. Clayton Oliver. Took Miller got a fair few votes. Jai Simpkin, not a chance. Who's Mac Linley. He's really letting him spray. I appreciate the.
Is he a rapper as well?
No, he's a fan. he's someone who messaged. He's someone.
Oh, yeah.
He's someone who messaged us. He's gone with some interesting votes, which I respect. You always got to go out on a limb, Max Linley. Sam Kenley, Jack Steele, a lot of Jack Steele, a few Petrarcas. Riley said Jacko, Clayton Oliver. Next, we're ripping through footy chat. We're on it.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
Fuck off. All right, premiers. Carlton.
Fucking drums.
Drums. All right, boys. Batman obviously came out earlier this week.
We got Bat Chat.
We got bad chat.
Oh, Batman. Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, Batman. Coming down.
That was so bad. That was
Yeah,
really so bad. I'm Batman. That was just like a whisper.
It's like you would.
Now I got too much fun. I'm Batman.
That is embarrassing. That is
So-
embarrassing. What am I actually saying?
I am Batman.
I am Batman. I am
So,
Batman.
the long-awaited Batman movie.
Yeah.
It had been delayed a bunch because of COVID. They were going to film it when COVID first started. It finally came out. Or the Robert Pattinson, as many folks are calling him.
Is that a thing?
That's a bad.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's like how people call Ben Affleck Batfleck.
I've never heard that, but I like it.
All right, Joe.
I don't like it.
Okay, so Batman, the Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson. What do we think?
I actually, we all saw
Give
it.
it a number each.
Did we all see it?
Yep. Number.
We saw it. We saw it tactically.
Yes. Should we talk about that? Sorry.
Later on. Not. It's too relevant. Yeah.
No, yeah.
We're talking about Bat Chat.
A 9. 9 out of 10.
That's high. I'll go 8.
To begin with, thought it was a great film walking out of the cinema. Since thinking about it, thinking about the plot, 5.5, 6
Out of 10.
out of 10.
Holy shit.
Spell. What?
It'll
You
be-
gotta
Yeah,
go
you gotta
first.
go,
You
yeah.
gotta go first.
Right, yeah. I got 3 dot points written down that come to mind just to delve into the light stuff. Robert Pattinson as the Joker, of course.
That's
Alright.
Batman.
As Batman.
You saw the right movie, yeah?
Just a warning, if you haven't seen the film yet, spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Spoiler
good.
alert.
Light spoilers.
Good to get one in.
yeah.
This will go for, let's say, 10.
So,
Skip 10 minutes forward, I guess, and listen to the Good Everyday Hero.
right, yeah, great. So Robert Pattinson is Batman.
Yeah.
And the antagonist in this movie is none other than a classic Batman villain, the Riddler.
The Riddler. Played by Paul Dano.
Right here.
Dino! Soscat Dino! I didn't know Dino was getting involved.
Right here.
Such a niche family joke.
We mentioned Soscat.
Are we?
Yeah, MacPack.
Alright, so let's get Dino.
Vocabulary. Bring that shit back. We
Alright.
did that once. So many
like- No,
things
we've done it
we've
like
done.
twice.
Oh, have we?
We've got 6 entries in that book, man. Right.
Name them.
Okay, so the Riddler.
Yeah, so the Riddler, right? So the Riddler's whole gig is that like he kills someone and then he leaves a riddle at
yeah.
the scene of the crime
Yeah.
toward directly Batman to solve
The Batman as well.
Which will
Is this the
basically-
first time he's ever been called the Batman?
Yes.
Yep.
Why?
Because basically
Basically,
the
all
Joker.
the other Batman movies were taken.
It's like
No, it wasn't called Joker. It was called Joker.
Yeah.
what was it?
Just facts on facts on facts down here.
Alright. But let me go on about this Riddler guy, right?
Yeah.
So the Riddler, basically, if you haven't seen any Batmans before, he kills someone, then he leaves a note at the scene of the crime with a riddle, basically, essentially leading Batman onto his next victim, but not really telling him like how, when, why,
Yep.
blah blah blah. Just basically like teasing Batman with like just annoying riddles that will make, which makes the audience and Batman. It's meant to make them think, correct?
Yeah.
It's meant to annoy Batman. It's meant to get under his skin. As a aspiring writer, the way I would write the
You're
Riddler,
doing one screenwriting.
as I would write the Riddler, I would use the character the Riddler as more of a motive, as more of a like it doesn't annoy Batman at all. The fact that the Riddler is writing riddles, which is his point, doesn't slight Batman in the slightest. Batman, if you've seen the movie, you understand that no matter what riddle it is, there's like 4, 5, 6 riddles in the film.
Which
And
it
everyone-
really isn't even that many.
The mass detectives and like the 50 cops that are there who have been in practice of this for many a year.
Not doing riddles on the job.
Some of them are detectives. They should, yeah, but these are like basic riddles, right? Not really, but Batman makes it seem that way. Batman.
The thing, yeah, I agree with that. Batman seems to make the riddles seem like they're sentences. Like the whole squad of policemen look at Batman like he's
Yeah.
speaks a
This
different
is-
language.
This is
Okay,
exactly
okay.
how
So-
every... No, let me speak, you motherfucker. This is exactly how it goes, right? Read the riddle. The detectives are like, what does that mean? As meant to be playing the audience in the
Yeah.
situation, like, what does that mean? This is so mysterious and riddly. Like, oh my God, I could never work this out. And they're like, do you know what it means, Batman? And Batman's like, yes, this.
And he
Every
might,
Yeah, okay,
time,
but-
without even thinking.
Okay.
It's fucking bullshit. It's
Can
such a
I
getaway.
Can I rebuttal that?
Go.
So
Try.
in the comics, this is something they don't really touch on in the movies too much.
Exactly.
In the comics, Batman, so DC, where he comes from, stands for Detective Comics. Batman, when he first started, he was like the world's greatest detective, is what they call him.
Yeah.
And he's like hell smart. Like that's like his whole character basically. So it's just sort of like, I personally found it hell funny that he just knew the riddles straight away.
Yeah, but like I understand what your point about the comics, but it's like, as a man who's grown up in the 21st century, I didn't read comic books. I watched movies.
Yeah.
As
no,
along
fair
with
enough.
A lot of people
I reckon
were.
majority. I honestly think majority of the audience probably sits in that boat.
Yeah, but
Have you read the comics?
a few, yeah.
So just on this panel alone, it's 66%. So I'm going to say that.
Yeah, but that's where the character comes from.
Yeah,
They're
no,
being
I
true
No
to
one
the
knows
character.
that. You need to tell us. You need to give us some exposition in the fact that that Joker is a detective. Because even in the movies before this,
Batman.
the Batman is as
You saw the right movie, yeah?
as a detective. These VVs are hitting hard, not gonna lie. But like, yeah, like for real, like you haven't given us any reason to know that Batman is a detective. For some reason, Batman is just knowing all these riddles.
Okay, so your
Well, that's
problem
fair
is
enough.
the
Also
riddles aren't enough of the plot. They're
Yes.
just like a thing.
Also, about the Riddler, right? So we've seen some great antagonists in our time. Thanos, Heath Ledger's Joker. They have motive. They have reason
Yep.
to be the bad man that they are. The Riddler, you don't know who he is until the last 30,
Yep.
40 minutes of the film. He's
Yep.
not seen once before.
It's a bit
And
like
then
7.
And then his motive
It is a lot like Seven.
his motive is just like, oh, I am also an orphan. And yeah, fuck
So-
that, man. What
so
the
I
hell?
think-
like what?
to-
That's not a motive.
No, okay, so the whole thing with the Riddler is his plot is to like spoilers, but like uncover the corruption in the town.
Yeah.
Which is like one of the
I
main
don't
things.
think that's spoilers. That's
Yeah, it's fair. Well, it's like one of the main things about Gotham and like sort of the criticisms of Batman is that people are like, oh, why doesn't Batman, he's like a billionaire, why doesn't he just use his money to fix Gotham? And this is sort of showing how like you can't just throw money at a problem to solve it, because that's what his parents did.
Yeah.
And the money got abused.
yeah.
And the Riddler is like uncovering this like behind the scenes stuff of what's happening.
Yeah.
So him and Batman almost want the same thing. They want to get rid of crime, and then he's sort of going at the root of it, which is the corruption. He's just going about it in like
Yeah.
a
Which
bad
I actually
way.
liked that. I liked that narrative that he was against the rich. But then I was talking to my mate at film school, and he had a point that I actually really liked. He
Okay.
said,
Is
Funny-
film school
funny how
is film school like a uni thing you do?
yeah, it's funny how the Riddler, right, is against all these rich people.
Yeah.
Is a big man for the poor, basically. That's what his thing is. He's the guy. He's for the people that don't have it. Except at the end of the film, he floods the entire Arkham City, removing the home for every single
Except
Homeless
himself.
person.
person.
other than the rich who can live at the top of these high-rise buildings.
So
Yeah.
who's that? The Riddler did that?
Yeah, he flooded the whole
Flooded the
city,
city.
removing every single surface area for any homeless person to sleep, rest, do anything.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like
Yeah, but that's
why
just,
he did it. I
yeah,
don't think
it's
he
not why he
directly
did it, but that's what he's also done. Like, he's also bad for... He's killed a lot of innocent people as well. Like, he's killed a lot of people who... He maybe killed an orphan along the way. Maybe some of these homeless people were orphans, and he's just killed his own.
Okay, I think that's a good
He's
criticism.
a flawed character. And you can't have your antagonist as a flawed character. Also, Robert Pattinson...
He's a weird guy. Who
Robert
was
Pat-
he? Who played him? Just quickly.
Paul Dino.
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 Who is he in anything
So
else?
he's in Prisoners.
Prisoners is good. Oh, he's,
he's
the
the
he's
prisoner.
the weird dude in
Yeah,
prison.
yeah. He also is in... He basically plays the weird guy in any movies.
He was a weird dude.
He's in Little Miss Sunshine. He's the guy
Hate
who's
that film.
colorblind.
Just quite. That is my least favorite film of all time.
Not Batman.
No, but I enjoy Batman.
Also, Robert Pattinson...
Don't think about it too much.
Although he's basically, his role in this film is to get the story going by being a detective. he's barely Batman. He doesn't do anything to
Yeah,
save
that was
the
my
city.
biggest gripe.
The only
Oh,
thing
really?
that the Batman did was accidentally kill Falcone or whatever his name is.
Falcone, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my biggest gripe. Even like when walking out with Dad, Batman's always been big on the accessories. So the car that turns into a bike.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I couldn't even tell
His
you what.
belt and stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about that. I've never really seen many Batmans. I've seen the
Dark
Heath
Knight
Ledger
trilogy,
dude one, yeah, which I loved, but not. I always side with the evil guy. Maybe that's just a personality trait of mine.
Yeah.
But I always tend
Your
to.
favorite movie is like the Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, fucking no.
So I think
Followed, yeah. Anyway, but there was no car. The car appeared in like the fucking
was
last
pretty
20
cool.
minutes.
I thought
liked
the
that.
car. I like the thing
The
about the
car
car
reveal
is the
was really
car's so
cool.
much more realistic. It's not like a tank. It's just like a car that's been
Did it
done
used
up
to be a
bit.
tank? It didn't used to be a tank.
Introduction
In
of the
Dark
car
Knight, it was like
really
basically a tank.
But like it used
And
to.
I like how they didn't overuse the car. It was one scene.
I
That chase
dislike
scene
that.
was, I really like the chase scene because like there's a lot of crashes and stuff, which is like what would happen if there was a chase scene. I really like that.
Yeah. fair.
I also liked how he was Batman for more of it. Like he was in the costume, or he was like he wasn't really like being Bruce Wayne as much. And when he was like really uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, I
the
like
thing
that.
about the reason why that worked in Nolan's Batmans is because like Batman is Batman, but Batman is Bruce Wayne. Batman isn't Batman. Batman
Spoilers.
is Bruce Wayne.
No, I see.
The
I think
reason
you're-
why Batman is because of Bruce Wayne. Batman's not Batman because he's Batman. You
I
need to
think
have a Bruce
that-
Wayne arc.
I think that you're misreading the character. So Batman is more Batman than he is
Okay, one more.
Bruce Wayne. Like he is Batman, and Bruce Wayne is the way to hide that he is Batman. Essentially,
Should be the other way.
All right.
My last
Be
gripe.
quick.
My last gripe. So the end reveals that there is a Joker in this universe.
Yes.
There's a discussion between the Riddler and the Joker in the mental asylum. My one gripe with this and
Yeah.
with the whole DC thing that they've got going on, DC is just disappointing to see. They have so much potential and they never use it, right? So
This is the best they've done in a long
yeah,
time.
this is like the best.
in Hakeem's Phoenix. Yeah, exactly. It's the best they've done and it's so miles behind Marvel in every way. So Hakeem Phoenix's Joker.
this
correct.
bloke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Joaquin.
Hakeem Phoenix's Joker, right?
Hakeem.
Game of Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah. He's in it.
So Hakeem Phoenix, right? In his world, in Hakeem Phoenix's world,
He's a fucking.
There's
He's
a
a
di- there's a-
center in the NBA.
there's a different Alfred
Yeah.
and there's a different Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I can't name them right now, but in this world, which they could have
Oh, okay.
used to introduce Hakeem into this world, even though they're in different timelines in the point of the movie right now, I think, even though this movie was a bit of a miss, I think if they introduce,
It's like the
If it-
most critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
Continue,
movie's not
continue,
very good.
continue.
Even if I think they should have used, I don't know who this new Joker is. Like I've searched him up. He looks kind of cool. Like I'm interested to see the way he plays the Joker because there's a lot of different Jokers around, right? But I think if they that they
I want to sleep. I missed that. I wasn't paying attention.
Exactly, right?
Oh,
I
sorry.
think they should have introduced Hakeem Phoenix's Joker
I don't think
into the new Batman series
I don't think they're allowed.
because you have a critically acclaimed actor in Hakeem Phoenix.
Who would have he would have signed
And
an
you have an
exclusivity
Hakeem-
clause, man. You can't just jump across. He can't play
No,
for the
but these-
Lakers
these
on
were being-
Tuesday and then
these were
play for
being
Boston
made.
on Wednesday and still
It's
be
the same world.
Hakeem
It's the same
Olajuwon.
world. They're happening. There's two Batman worlds happening
No,
correspondingly.
there's three. There's also the Ben Affleck one.
There's three happening at the same time. Mold
No,
into
you
one.
can't.
No,
No,
use your
yes,
critically
everything
acclaimed
doesn't
actors
need to be
who
the
are winning
same
Academy
movie.
Awards
All right, we're done here.
yearly to have one fucking good Batman fucking world.
I really like Robinson Patterson's voice. He did an American accent, which I really appreciated. That's all I have to say. Bye. All right, boys, that brings us to the end of another episode of the MacPack podcast. But of course, we wouldn't do so. We wouldn't finish this damn thing without doing our favourite weekly segment. It's time for our Everyday Hero. And this week's Everyday Hero is a little bit of a somber one.
Yeah.
This week's Everyday Hero goes to Shane Warne.
Warnie.
Now, Warnie sadly passed away on, would have been Friday evening,
Yes.
Perth time,
Yep.
which was Saturday morning.
Ovaries, yeah.
He died of a heart attack, a shock heart attack that no
Yeah.
one really could see coming at the age of 52, which is incredibly, incredibly sad. But on this occasion, we would like to honour him with this week's Everyday Hero for the legacy that he has left and the character he has been. Not only in the cricketing sense, but in a global sense for the game of cricket and for Australia's culture.
That's an
Yeah.
Aussie bloke.
He is. He solidified and epitomised exactly what it was to be an Australian male, I think, for so many
Yep.
so many years. And the cultural elements that went along with his life are
Do you know what he loved, Jake?
undisputed. What did he love, Junior
He
Boy?
loved a beer, and he loved a Victorian bitter.
He did. He loved
I'm going to crack open another one for the big man.
he loved.
Pour up for the big man.
He loved a VB.
It's my first taste of a VB. Here we go,
You've
boys.
never had a VB.
Smells good. Here we go.
It's a winner.
Yeah. It's like a classic man's beer.
It is.
For a classic man.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, the stories have come out. There was always so many good Warnie stories, and it's fantastic that they've come to light recently
Yeah.
as he's passed.
Especially when it comes to like cricket, like it's a pretty like gentlemanly sport. A lot
Yeah.
of them, a lot of the players who play are a lot more sort of reserved, and he's just sort of like a bit of a wild character
Yeah,
in
he
terms
was-
of like the way he behaves and just his like general like mannerisms, I guess.
100%. He was the Larrikin, and he fucking did it his own way, and I think that's why everyone enjoyed who he was. At the bane of it, as you said before, he loved to drink, he loved to smoke, and he bowled a bit of leg spin.
Yes.
Um,
Do you want to hear that?
I liked loud music, I was smoked, I drank, and I bowled a bit of leg spin. You know, that was sort of me.
There you go. That was all to him.
I don't have any regrets.
and that's basically exactly the sort of bloke he was.
Bloody oath.
Which is largely why I think so many Australians saw him as being a hero in the sense that he was a sort of the achievable hero.
Yeah,
he wasn't
he's
an
a
elite
sportsman you could be.
Yeah, he wasn't an elite athlete. He drank as much as the bloke down the pub, smoked as much as the bloke down the pub, but was just given these fantastic opportunities because of his ability with the opportunities he was given.
Yeah, like pure talent rather than like, you know, like
Yeah,
physical.
he didn't have to finesse
build
his
and
way
stuff like
into
that, yeah.
anything. He just got it done. And he was a fucking hard worker. Like, obviously, he wasn't born with natural talent. He rocked up at the cricket academy as a young lad, overweight, loved a beer, loved a meat pie, but could still just rip him like no one else.
Bloody oath.
Yeah.
My favourite story that came out of the week was from Michael Clark, and I'll let him tell the story. Michael, mate, you're on the line. Oopsie. No, Michael, mate, now you're on the line.
I guess the one thing that sticks in my mind, because it probably sums up Warnie, was the first time I ever went to his house, and I remember pressing the buzzer on his door, and he already left the door open, so I pushed it open. And his house is massive. The only time I saw tiles that big was in like a Westfield shopping centre. His house is huge, and I'm like yelling out, going, "Warnie, King, where are you?" And he's like, "Come in, I'm in here." And I walk into one of his 7 lounge rooms, and he's laying in this solarium bed. He's got the goggles on, getting a tan, and there it is, having a smoke hanging out the side of the sunbed. And I'm like, who does this?
If that's not
who honestly
quintessentially
does
Warnie.
this? And man, it's him, you know. It sums exactly, like, he's leaving his front door open for starters. He's in the solarium having a smoke. Like, only Warnie. But look, I think everyone's going to...
And that's exactly the sort of bloke he was. Like, he just didn't care. He did things his own way. There's obviously been an outpouring of different stories from a heap of people, but because he was so influential, not just in a cricket sense, there's been no other athlete who's ever transcended a sport the way that Shane Warne was able to. When he passed away, it was front cover news in Sri Lanka, it was front cover news in England, it was front cover news in India, it was front cover news here. I don't think there's many other athletes where that is the case.
No.
Kobe Bryant passes away, it's not front news
Yeah, you
in
hear
a-
about it like
in
online
a smattering
and
of
stuff like
different
that.
countries. Yeah. And I think it is largely because of the individual that he is. Like, obviously, he was incredibly talented, but the narrative of the personality that Shane Warne is unmatched. Even the likes of like Magnus I can't say her last name.
Magnus Gavance.
Yeah, so she came out. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
So she came out on Twitter because obviously.
And who is that for people who don't know?
Oh, she's the chick from Kath and Kim.
Kath
She
and Kim,
plays
yeah.
Sharon
Oh,
Strzelecki.
Shazza.
And so she's always had, like, Sharon's got a crush on Warnie, like, basically the whole series. And she just
Yeah.
idolizes him. And he was on the show.
Yeah, and he was playing.
Were there a few cricket players? Or was it just one?
No, it was just Warnie.
And he was playing a character who looked like
He was a Shane Warne
Warne.
impersonator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And that was the whole concept of what was
I
going
think
on.
when I watched that when I was a kid, I think I was like, damn, like he does look a lot like him. I think Mum had to be like,
You
no, that
didn't
is
realise,
him.
Yeah. But like even the fact that there's not many people in any fathom of life who've seen as much success as he has seen to put their hand up and go, yeah, you know what, I'll be on like a reality. No, it wasn't a reality, but it was like a sitcom, Australian sitcom.
Yeah, even
And I'll happily take the piss out of myself.
yeah, because her being like in love with him was like kind of like a joke.
Yeah, it was an ongoing gag
Yeah.
from season, like first ever
From-
episode all the way through. But nah, he left an incredible. Even myself, he left a huge impression on me. He was my favorite cricketer as a young lad.
Yep.
We used to get our hair dyed. We used to get
Yep,
tips.
frosted
We used to
tips.
get tips put through our hair. This is
Oh,
probably
yeah.
before you were even
I
up
got
and
him
about.
one time because you were.
And that was because of Shane Warne. I've got sunglasses. I should fetch them. I might fetch them. And they like these white speed dealer sunnies. They were the first pair of sunnies I've ever bought, and I think they're largely the only pair of sunnies I've ever bought. I've only ever found other sunnies that
That
I've
looked
got.
like that.
Um,
We used to have
and
the
they were purely because Shane Warne wore them.
we would always just about every Christmas you'd get the like Shane Warne spin ball.
Yep. Yeah, we've got one
Which-
here.
yeah, we got it on the table.
Yeah, so like we used to get these little PVC Shane Warne balls that we'd play like our front yard cricket with, and they'd teach you how to bowl spin and everything. So like the legacy that he left, even on just like normal people like us, let alone some of the big names that he ran into contact with. Chris Martin, everyone's sort of asking at the moment why there's so much Coldplay on everything that he's done, and why Chris Martin's even involved in anything. They were incredibly good mates. They met in a elevator
Okay.
in the 90s. This is, I reckon, 1990.
Yep.
So,
Was Coldplay even a thing?
was it 1990?
It would have had to have been later because I don't think Coldplay were around then.
Maybe 2000. Maybe 2000.
Maybe
at a-
99, you're thinking.
Maybe 2000 at a
Yeah.
push. But they're in an elevator, right?
Yep.
And the elevator's full, and Warnie looks over in on the side of the elevator because there's 12 people in this thing. He just looks
Shit.
over. Yeah. He just looks over into the other corner because obviously it's pretty squash. And the bloke looking back at him was Chris Martin, and Chris Martin went, "Are you?" And Shane went, "Are you?" And they quickly worked out like who each other were. And like, what are you doing here? I'm going up to my room. This is like 2 a.m. in the morning.
Standard.
He's drunk.
Just the boys, and they get out of the lift and whatnot, and they're like, mate, why don't you come have a drink with me? So Shane literally went to Chris's apartment or his little hotel joint that he was staying at that night, and they stayed up and they drank piss and they watched the sunset come up, and they'll be mates ever since.
It's
so they've been
cute
mates for
that-
That's
20,
sick.
20, 30 years. And this was both when they were sort of starting their career. I think it was 2000, when they were both very early on in their career. Respective careers, and they've always been mates ever since. Coldplay come out in 2018 and did a arena tour Australia-wide, except Perth.
Yeah.
They went to Melbourne, and Shane was invited up on the stage. And for most people, they were like, oh, they just found out
He was there.
who was the
Just
most
happened to be
popular
there, yeah.
person in Melbourne at the time. No, that's not at all true. Chris and the whole band of Coldplay went to Shane's house the night before. They had dinner with Shane and his kids,
The boys.
and they were like, I want you to come up on stage tomorrow night and play harmonica. And he was like, I'm not fucking doing that. There's no chance. And then like Chris pressured the kids. He goes, you want your dad to go up there? And like, yeah. And next thing you know, he's up on stage. His son's seen him like as he's walking over. He's like, Dad. Just like gives him a shout out.
Oh yeah.
That's the sort of bloke Warnie was. He'd never say no to an opportunity. He'd just throw his hat in the ring at all costs. Ed Sheeran, another fantastic big name
Hell yeah.
who people were just like, I think we just watched the thing and it was just like, oh, there's a photo of Ed and Shane.
I didn't believe it.
We just took like a random photo of him with a famous person, I thought.
Well, Ed's pretty young. Like, Ed's not an old dude. He used to watch cricket with his dad, right?
Yeah.
Who's English. They're all English, so he used to watch a lot of cricket with his dad. And Shane Warne, similar to some of the English players over here, when you got someone like Shane Warne, they transcend the team that you support. Do you know what I mean? They're bigger than your country. They're
Yeah,
like,
it's
"Fuck,
like
this personality is sick. I want to get behind this guy."
Yep.
yeah.
And that's exactly what Shane Warne was. So Ed and his dad used to watch a lot of cricket together. And then for whatever reason, I can't remember the actual event that they were at, but Ed was there, Shane was there, And Ed goes, "Do you mind if I get a photo with you?" And Shane was just like, "Yeah, that's like fine, man. Let's do that."
Fuck yeah.
Got a photo. And apparently Shane was saying that his daughter, I think it was Brooke, his oldest daughter, is a huge fan of Ed Sheeran. And he goes, "Do you mind if like I get one on my phone as well, so I can send it to my daughter? She'll get a huge kick out of this." And they've been mates ever since. Ed got the photo for his dad because his dad was a massive Shane Warne guy. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was when Shane was in England or if Ed and his dad came out to Australia, but Ed asked if Shane could bowl to his dad, bowl to his dad in the nets. And Shane went down thinking, "Oh yeah, that'll be fine. Like he's always up for a challenge. He'll do whatever." And he went down and he just thought he'd be bowling like a couple overs to Ed's dad.
Yeah.
He bowled for 2 hours. He bowled to Ed Sheeran's dad in the nets for 2 hours. Just because
wicket after wicket.
just because, you know, like you go down and you think you're going to do like something for a little bit of period and then the next thing you know, you're there for absolutely ages. He used to have like an incredible meal plan. That seems to be getting talked about a lot. So
Meal plan.
well,
Not a usual meal
I
plan.
say meal plan. It's more just like he just used
Just
to eat.
snacks,
He used
pies.
to eat a lot of shit. Michael Vaughan, cricketer
Yep.
who used to play for England,
Vaughan.
used to be the captain of England. He was stuck in Australia most recently for the Ashes.
Yep.
Couldn't get over to England because of COVID and all that, and then he had to work here, so you can't really ping back
Yeah, exactly.
and slingshot it. So Shane actually had him at his place for Christmas and his last year, alive on Christmas. Do you know what they've always had for lunch?
I'm gonna say it's not a classic, not a salad, no prawns.
No, not at
snacks.
all. It's Shane's favourite food was lasagna. He reckons he liked lasagna more than Garfield the cat.
Yeah.
And on Christmas, Michael Vaughan. These two blokes are worth like millions of dollars combined. He came over. Shane grabbed out some white rolls. Yeah. Opened them up, ripped them open. Doesn't even use a knife. Just uses his hands. Just like rips these things open. And he used to put like layers of butter on, right? Not just like coat it.
Yeah.
He'd put like an inch thick butter on this
He's
thing.
like spooning it in there, basically.
More or less, yeah. And that is followed by nice warm lasagna. He'd dump that on the white bread, and they had lasagna sandwiches for Christmas lunch. And that was just the epitome of what Shane Warne was. He was baked beans, he was lasagna, he was white bread, he was fags, he was VB, and he was cigarettes. And that is exactly why he is as incredible as what he is.
It's always the case with famous people, though. A lot of young ones, for example, the recent one, Shane Warne, and people like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jackson, Tupac. You know, they die at a very young age. It's like, it's starting to become a trend that it's like,
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and it's kind of like you wonder why. Why do these greats go so early? And I'm starting to think that maybe it's because, you know, obviously we're put on earth. We're all Catholic. I believe that obviously we're put on earth for like a reason.
Yeah.
And maybe that these people have, you know, they've had their time. They've pursued their reason. Their reason has come. They've touched as many people in life as they have. And now they can go.
They've fulfilled their like purpose, their calling, their vocation, whatever it need be. That's what they've done, and I almost feel like their legacy lives on stronger as a result. There's so many people who have fantastic lives who reach the ages of, let's say, 80, 90, and they slowly just disappear into retirement or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And they don't get forgotten, but their appreciation is nowhere near as strong as if they were to pass at 50, 60, still doing what they love and still being a huge contributor to what they've already sort of provided the world, the nation, or whoever their group of people are with the benefits from already.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way to look at it, Riley.
It's interesting.
It is.
Maybe that's why.
Gogglebox, incredibly, when Shane passed away, it's obviously, it's always good to go from... It's always good to go from like conversational chats to Gogglebox.
Gogglebox, yep.
Gogglebox was actually on. This is partially what stung me the most. So Friday night, we were actually sitting here when the news broke. We were hanging out that night, and then it all happened pretty soon.
I actually have a funny story about.
We won't discuss it now, but yeah.
So you're sitting there.
But yeah, when the news broke, firstly I didn't believe it. I thought it was a hoax. There's so many people who like Rowan Atkinson's died. If you look on Google, Rowan Atkinson's died about 8 times. Now he's my favorite. He's my favorite person on the planet, Rowan Atkinson. He is the reason that I do.
Ouch.
Rowan Atkinson has always been, ever since I was like the youngest kid on the block. He was the fucking man.
Yeah.
And we've got news on that in a couple of weeks. Ooh.
He's getting on.
He's coming on the podcast. No, but what I'm trying to say is that when it broke, I thought it was a hoax. My phone blew up. Like I had probably 5 people message me all within the same minute, including yourself.
Yeah, because
and that was when I was like, "Whoa, okay, hold up."
Because I was with Kira at the time, and she got a message from one of her friends being like, "Did Shane Warne die?" And because like literally the day before, Rod Marsh had passed away. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, surely not. Like, surely they're just getting confused with that." And yeah, it was insane. That, like,
so that was the
that
case.
had
That was the case with a few of Shane's good mates. Like they were in text chats and shit like that, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, did Shane Warne pass away?" And they were like, "I don't know, Rod Marsh." Because it was literally
Shane's last tweet is about
Rod Marsh. Yeah, and I was watching the cricket. One of the T20 games we were watching 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
They were discussing Rod because he'd had a heart attack, and they were like sending it. I think it may have even been Shane who sent his love to Rod, because Rod was an incredible person. And I'm actually reading Ricky Ponting's book. I've been all summer.
Yeah.
And the amount that he talks about both Shane and Rod is fucking second to none, because Rod was a huge impact on Ricky's entire career, and rest in peace to Rod Marsh as well, who's being overshadowed. It's probably it's a tough week for a hero to pass away if you follow it up by Shane Warne within hours. But
yeah, well, everyone who's younger, like everyone knows Shane.
I think anyone in the world could have passed away. The moment that Shane Warne passes away is the moment that the attention will come off that person very, very quickly. No, I've said it many times, no one transcended world sport as much as Shane did. Not necessarily from a sporting sense, but from a cultural sense. It was next level. I was chatting to Mum on Friday afternoon before we went to the gym, I believe.
Yep.
And
Flex.
I was literally talking about Rod Marsh, and I was like, I knew that he was unwell and whatnot. And we discussed that whole thing, and I didn't think that we would be discussing Shane Warne mere on 4 hours after the fact. I could not fathom that, knowing that in hindsight. Me and Taylor were actually watching Gogglebox. Celebrity Gogglebox was on the night before. Shane Warne's got a new film out.
Oh yeah, about like a doco, or
about his life, which I think was probably the best full stop that he could have had on his whole thing. Something we never got from Kobe, something we probably didn't really even get from
Tupac,
Michael Jackson, or any of the crew that passed away previous. Was almost like a telling of your entire life, mere on 2-3 months before you passed away.
Yeah,
so it has a sense of finality to it.
Yeah.
Which I think can't be matched. We were watching it because all the people on Gogglebox had watched it on Amazon Prime, I think it is on.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with Taylor, and Taylor doesn't know a great deal about cricket. It's one of the only sports that she's not really interested in. And I got genuinely excited when Shane Warne came on, and I was explaining like the whole gamut of things that he did before it was happening, and then that was happening, and I was like, yeah, like I know so much. I've always been a huge fan. I skipped school when he took his 700th wicket. Didn't go that day.
In his last test match, eh?
No, it wasn't his last, but it was his last Ashes.
Yeah.
So it was the last game he played at the MCG, and took his 700th wicket, and it was like the greatest moment. I would have been fucking 8, maybe 9, sitting in our Riverton house and still thinking like you're on top of the absolute world. That was just the pinnacle. So everyone that sort of sent in all these messages, that moment alone meant a lot for a lot of people, whether they were there, whether they weren't there, whether they were fans or whether they were just observers. But it does come back to exactly what you're saying. The legacy that he leaves is just beyond anything. And if you pass away young, you seem to pass away with not your dignity, but everything is intact and your legacy lives on. You don't age. You always be remembered for being the character that you were during that period.
Right. Yeah, like not to disrespect any of like the older people, but you're not just like that old guy who's commentating and like none of the kids really know who they are. Like,
and often as you get older and the more you fall out of the time, the more bitter you get.
Yeah.
And I think Shane was always
Victorian bitter, you might say.
Shane was always fantastic, and no matter what it was, he was always fantastic at making it about himself. And he would start fights in commentary and just like always draw it back to himself.
Oh,
and
yeah, dude. Yeah,
I found it so funny.
The amount of times like one of them would be like, oh, he's like one of the best bowlers we've ever seen. And he'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, and
me?
and the boys would like half rally about, oh yeah, obviously, like, we're not even talking about you. Like, it was just, it was
Yeah.
incredible. I loved so much of it, even in some of the promos. Like, these are Fox Sports promos he's doing, and the whole story somehow loops back about being
How he's
about
good at
Shane
cricket.
Warne. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, I grew up here, I did my thing here.
that's a
He's
good
just,
point, eh?
he's fantastic, and he was so good for the world, and he was so good for absolutely everything. Yeah, absolutely everything that Australia had to offer. He changed the culture. He changed absolutely everything about what Australia was going to be. As you mentioned it, we're all put on this planet, but I think there are a hand-selected few that are specifically placed. And I think Shane Warne was placed on this planet to do something good. And love him, hate him, you got to appreciate him. And what he did for cricket, what he did for Australia, absolutely transcended it all. So this week, episode 76's Everyday Hero gives me the greatest of all pleasures to announce that this week's Everyday Hero goes to Shane Warne. All right, boys, that brings us to the end of another episode of the MacPack podcast. Good one, I reckon. We always review the episodes as we do them.
That was good.
And they're always great.
Yeah. 5 stars. Fantastically, this week we actually received some fantastic work from our man.
91artco on Instagram, 91artco.com on the World Wide Web.
The web.
Riley wanted to do the read. It's a Sam Fender. We've made mention to the MacPack podcast, on the MacPack podcast previously, how much we love Sam Fender. And the absolute king at
91artco.
has provided us with Sam Fender's debut proper album.
Yeah.
This is his Hypersonics album. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it, and it's going to fit very nicely in my new residence, which we'll discuss that.
Lovely.
We'll discuss that in a couple of weeks. But if you head to his website and use the code MacPack10, you'll receive 10% off any of the artwork that you select to buy from him.
That's 91artco.com.
And the packaging was fantastic. Like, there was a small delay, largely because there was floods last week. But
Yes.
We'll allow it.
yeah, barring that, it was fantastic. So thank you so much for this gift. It was a great little gift to receive on around my 25th birthday as well. So that was nice. Just fit in. I think that's 3 episodes in a row that I've made mention to the fact that it's my birthday.
Lovely.
So thank you so much for that. MacPack 10.
Backpack 10 at 91artco.com. That's 91artco. ARTCO.com.
And you will receive 10% off. So thank you so much.
And if you do want to send us stuff, feel free. Feel free to reach out.
Yeah, we've got it.
If
We
you got
got
mates with a brand, mate, listen to these great ad rates we're doing.
That's 91artco.com.
Yeah.
MacPack 10 for 10% off any item.
We've got. We do have this. Yeah. Anyway,
We're selling it.
We got news.
Yeah,
we got.
yeah, we got news coming.
We got news on the sponsorship front in a couple of weeks, so fucking expect that. Boy, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit down and chat with you. It's been a good episode of the MacPack podcast. I'm glad we got to give Shane a bit of a, what would you say?
Closure. Going away.
A memorial sort of thing. I don't know.
Well, up until this point, I'm glad we got to do something nice for the man. Yeah, it was good. There's so many stories that unfortunately...
Like a tribute.
Yeah, there you go. We're getting there.
Hey!
There's so many stories that we didn't get to chat about. There's so many that I knew previous to this week, and the amount that I've found out since has been, fucking next level. We mentioned, this is the thing. We've discussed it for about 20 minutes tonight, but I have no doubt that in our lives, in the podcast sense, and in everyone's lives, there's going to be Shane Warne stories that continually fluctuate in and out because he's just always been relevant. I don't know if you remember, we sat here with Luke Jackson and talked about Shane Warne.
Yeah, we did.
So the fact that, it wasn't at all relevant to the
About
conversation.
Joe just looked at me, gave me a question.
It was just
did we?
about
I
how
mean-
he used to smoke darts at
classic,
halftime breaks when they were like in between innings.
1A.
So I have no doubt that there's going to be so many stories still to come. He'll be a televised service. It's a state funeral. It's going to be massive. They're naming the MCG, which is arguably
stand.
my favorite place in the world to be. One of the stands.
One of the stands,
Did I say the whole?
The whole thing.
The whole
Oh
thing.
my
Yeah, well,
God.
give it a couple years. But yeah, that was fantastic. And a lot of the cricketers are quite upset. Obviously, like Ricky Ponting, it was tough to see him cry. Michael Vaughan, it was tough to see him cry. Clarkie's been quite upset. Adam Gilchrist. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit next to the two of you this week, as it is each and every week. And until we do so this time next week, stay safe, stay blessed, and always remember,
Heroes come and go, but legends live forever.
long live the king.